Hello everyone and welcome back to Versus, the show that takes two of Tinseltown's top talents and pits them against each other to satiate our competitive appetite. It's really just for fun, but if you think Nicole Kidman and Laura Dern aren't fans of competition, have you seen any of the award shows in the last 30 years? Yeah, well, it's probably because they were there nominated for stuff. The Oscars, the Golden Globes, the NFL MVP, they're always seemingly in the conversation when it's trophy time. Now we get to celebrate their respective career greatness on our biggest stage. Right? We do other shows here? Better than this? Well, I don't know. This is my moment, and that's not a big little lie. In one corner, we have Laura Dern, who's done everything in Hollywood from tussling with dinosaurs to wrestling with David Lynch's imagination. In the other corner is Nicole Kidman, whose days of thunder range from the music of Moulin Rouge to the oceans of the DCEU. Both performers can do it all, from tiny art house indies to the biggest blockbusters in this or any other galaxy. Plus, one of them has Paddington's digits on their cell phone. Here's how we'll determine a winner. Round 1, box office. Round 2, Tomatometer/Audience Score. Round 3, iconic characters. Round 4, memorable moments. And then we'll do a wild card round that could involve penguins, bats, or even Little Fockers. One hails from Australia, the other from Los Angeles. And while Nicole Kidman and Laura Dern have individually forged careers that have seen them and their characters span the globe and into the far reaches of space, today they face off for the greatest title of all, Versus Champion. Sure, awards are nice and selling tickets is great, but today one of them will join the ranks of the Terminator, Mortal Kombat, and Jean-Claude Van Damme, who have also won episodes of this show. Hey, we should do a Battle of Champions sometimes. Who wouldn't want to see Chucky take on the cast of Friends? Okay, while production figures that out, it's time for Kidman v. Dern, Dawn of Justice. Have they ever played a character named Martha? I think they have. Let's get it on.
I can get you where you want to be. I can protect you. Just don't get ahead of yourself. You have a lot to learn. I can teach you.
Round 1, box office. Nicole Kidman has recently been seen at the movies, sitting in a theater in ads reminding us how special going out to the flicks can be. Kidman and Laura Dern have some experience in this matter because folks have been coming out to see them in droves since the early 1980s. These two Tinseltown titans combined for well over $8 billion of total box office, and each has at least one movie on their resume that raked in over $1 billion. While y'all try to guess what those flicks may be, I'll start with Nicole Kidman. One of Kidman's early breaks on the biggest of screens was 1989's Dead Calm. It solidified her reputation as a top-level actress, if not yet a household name, but that movie only drew $7 million in receipts. However, the next year, Days of Thunder vroomed to a $157 million worldwide take, and Kidman was suddenly a hot property, much like her co-star in that movie, some guy named Tom. Since, Nicole's done a wide variety of films that have crossed the $100 million line, including animated hits like Happy Feet, live-action family-friendly fare like Paddington, and whatever category you put the Golden Compass into. It notched $367 million. She's also no stranger to the world of comic book adaptations, like when she played Dr. Chase Meridian in Batman Forever. That movie hauled in over $300 million, and she's now Aquaman's mommy. And that movie is also her billion-dollar generator, grossing $1.1 billion across the 7 seas. Laura Dern may not have the comic book movie resume of her combatant here, but she may not need it to win this round. You see, she actually has 2 films that earned at least $1 billion on the big screen. And you know at least one of them. It involves a Barbasol can and a cartoon strand of DNA. Oh, and there's dinosaurs. Yeah, in the summer of 1993, Jurassic Park roared its way to over $1 billion, and it was also the proving ground that George Lucas needed to continue with his Star Wars prequel films. Cut to almost 30 years later, George sold the Star Wars rights to Disney. They made a very successful sequel trilogy that included Dern as Vice Admiral Holdo in The Last Jedi, and it serves as the highest grossing film for either Dern or Kidman, as it took in $1.3 billion here on Earth. That buys a lot of blue milk.
Okay, that's an interesting joke.
Little Fockers, The Fault in Our Stars, and 2019's Little Women were also huge hits for Laura Dern, as they combined for over $800 million. And I Am Sam, starring her alongside Sean Penn, almost got to $100 million, landing at $92 million. When we take a look at the total career numbers, Laura Dern easily outpaces Nicole Kidman in terms of per-movie average at the box office. Thanks to all those dinos and Arctic Ice Fox Vulptex things, a Laura Dern flick is good for $152 million per movie, as opposed to Kidman's average of $108 million. Okay, so it's an easy win for Dern? Well, not exactly. You see, while Laura has the average movie total wrapped up, Nicole Kidman's career earnings hover around $5.2 billion, a solid victory over Dern's $3.8 billion. We can certainly point to some low multiplex receipts for either performer, even when the reviews were stellar. Destroyer was a bold new look for Kidman, yet the film couldn't get to $6 million in ticket sales. And Dern's breakout role, Blue Velvet, barely got to $8 million back in 1986. And while both have had plenty of hits since then, Laura Dern has only crossed that all-important $100 million line 5 times, but Nicole Kidman has done that feat on an incredible 15 different occasions. It's a close race here, as I suspect the rest of the match will be. After all, they're both so damn good in Big Little Lies. Have y'all seen it? Ooh, it's juicy stuff. But in round 1, I'm giving Nicole Kidman the nod for having so many hits on one resume. It's Australia 1, Los Angeles 0. Which actually might be a fair fight population-wise, right?
Do not tell me to calm down.
Can
I
you
will
take
my hands
a
and put them
breath
around
for
your throat.
1 second?
Is that better?
Round 2, Tomatometer/Audience Score. Nope, I was wrong. Australia has a little under 25 million total residents. LA has just 4 million, 3.5 million of whom will be on the 405 as I head home. So let's escape with more movie math, this time in terms of critical and audience reception to the bevy of hits courtesy of Laura Dern and Nicole Kidman. Neither of whom could make it here in person for a reason that I'm going to say is traffic related. It is a zoo on the SoCal freeways. Laura Dern has come to play ball today, and it shows on her Tomatometer report card. She has 12 movies that all rate at least 90% or above in the veggie garden. And yes, that includes The Last Jedi and Jurassic Park, as well as the 100% perfect Rambling Rose from 1991. Curiously, Kidman only has 3 films above 90%, led by Paddington at 97%. However, she recovers with a bunch of rock-solid freshness in the 80% range, including the awesome Creep Fest The Others at 83%. 83, which is, I'm guessing, the age of her, daughter. See the movie. It's bonkers. Kidman has a few flicks way south of fresh as well, including Just Go With It, the Adam Sandler vehicle with a dynamite cameo from Dan Patrick at just 19% rotten. That's tied with Invasion, and her low bar was set at 9% for Grace of Monaco. 9% is also the lowest rated film for Dern, and that's Little Fockers. Really? Seemed like everyone liked it okay, although now that I think about it, I don't think I saw any of those Meet the Parents sequels. But in real life, I'm very well liked by the parents, because that's my demographic. People my own age, not so much.
Why don't we just stick with the truth?
Kidman and Dern both have slightly lower Tomatometer averages than their legacies might indicate, but Laura is fresh, averaging 68% per movie. Meanwhile, Nicole's average is a rotten but respectable 56%, which means she will have some work to do to catch up with the audience score. Well, we got good news at the top, as Lion is 91% and Moulin Rouge is 89%, improving upon their Tomatometer number. Bombshell is at 84% alongside The Hours, and Being the Ricardos is at 75%. You know, all those movies were mentioned at the Academy Awards, I think, so maybe it would help Nicole Kidman if there was a round later today that involved a fancy award gala. Laura Dern firmly stands her ground with flicks like Blue Velvet and October Sky at 88%, and I Am Sam at 86%, which is weird. Why? It's only 35% of the Tomatometer, which wins it the coveted comparison to Man on Fire, another movie shockingly low in the Tomatometer and super high on the audience score. If we look at 2 flicks that are rotten on the audience score but did incredibly well at theaters, I would point to Batman Forever's 32% and The Last Jedi's 42%. All right, fans, good luck with that Change.org remake. No recount necessary here to declare a winner. The audience score tightened the race, but Laura Dern still comes out on top by that metric, averaging 61% fresh per movie to Nicole Kidman's 54% rotten. Dern avenges the controversial call made by your slightly inebriated host in round 1 as she gets the win here, and now the match is tied at 1 apiece. Round 3, iconic characters. Fair warning in this round, we don't have time and I don't have the vocal cord endurance required to belt out all of the amazing roles played by Laura Dern and Nicole Kidman over their sterling careers. But wow, do we have some fun highlights to get to. Nicole Kidman was already a celebrated actress by the time she was cast as Satine in Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge, but that film showcased a new side of her that elevated Kidman into the pantheon of all-time greats. It's a majestic portrayal that was also well-earned. She sustained injuries to her knee and ribs while rehearsing the complex dance numbers. Eyes Wide Shut didn't showcase dancing as much as it did. It's a family-friendly show, so I'm going to refrain from any of the jokes that are exploding inside my brain right now, but Kidman's Alice is revealed to be far more than just a pretty face. She has a few monologues that bring the house down, but it wasn't the first time we'd seen Nicole lean towards the dark side of humanity. She earned rave reviews when she starred in To Die For as star-obsessed Suzanne. Her research for the Gus Van Sant flick included watching tons of trashy TV shows and speaking in an American accent the entire production. Hey, I can do both those things! Sometimes even Kidman didn't know how great she could be. For the hours, she was convinced that she should be playing the Julianne Moore role, but director Stephen Daldry assured her that she was meant for Virginia Woolf. A successful award season later, I would say that was the right decision.
I guess a girl has to grow up sometime.
Long before Dern had a smash hit with Jurassic Park as Dr. Ellie Sattler, she made her mark in David Lynch movies like Blue Velvet and Wild at Heart. While Blue Velvet Sandy can be seen as pure of heart and someone who at her core can believe in the good in life, Wild at Heart unleashed Lula upon the world. A rebellious lover who hits the road with Nicolas Cage, she is, and seeing how she deals with the trauma of her own past is emotionally wrenching and utterly transfixing. I'll give a nod to Dr. Sattler too. After all, her combination of motherly instincts, scientific know-how, and a healthy pessimism towards Dr. John Hammond's theme park all unite for a performance so good, we don't miss the dinos that much when it's her human character running the show. Similarly, her Admiral Holdo from the original Last Jedi, not the remake, conveys a rebellious nature that belies her absolute allegiance to General Leia, someone who knows a thing or two about the hope that a rebellion can offer. In a fascinating revelation, Dern played the role as someone who was somewhat Force-sensitive, although her character's fate never allowed us, the audience, to explore this angle. Maybe that's why she was so willing to sacrifice herself, her unwavering confidence that there was much more than just this one life to live. I'm also giving tons of roses to Laura Dern for her versatility. She can play everything from a young, blind, love-struck innocent in the tender story of Mask, then she can pull off the stone-cold, matter-of-fact divorce lawyer Nora, who steals every one of her scenes in Marriage Story. Imagine that. Black Widow and Kylo Ren yell at each other for 2 hours, yet it's Laura Dern who emerges as arguably the most memorable. Give me a spin-off TV series with Nora and Ray Liotta's attorney character this very second. Nicole Kidman is so adept at conveying multiple emotions with a single look, and it's worked for a wide variety of directors. It's astounding that Grace from Lars von Trier's Dogville is played by the same actress who was Charlotte in The Paperboy, who is also the same person that played Anna in Birth. That last one is from 2004, and while it may not be as well known as some of her other work, the range of feelings on display all at once is simply overwhelming for all viewers. There is probably no wrong answer or clear winner in this round, but based on the entire body of character work, I'm going to lean slightly towards Nicole Kidman. Just look at her portrayal of Lucille Ball in Being the Ricardos. Did I need that movie to be made? Nope, never asked for it. But to see that transformation on the heels of another disappearance into a role like 2018's Bombshell reminds us all that when referencing Nicole Kidman, we're talking about one of the all-time greats in Hollywood history. She gets the point for round 3 and goes up 2-1.
I hope you understand what you're doing.
Round 4, memorable moments. If you've had a moment of excitement or apprehension, or just flat out openly wept in a movie theater in the last 30 years, chances are it was at the hands of Nicole Kidman or Laura Dern. Their characters gave way to scenes and sequences that thrilled us, shook us to our core, and provided a new way to look at our own lives. Plus, did I mention that we have a T-Rex? Nicole Kidman has been so good at conveying emotion for so long that occasionally it's a great moment just to watch her play against type, like with the absurd villainous fun she's having in Paddington, or even in Just Go With It. Those departures are earned because we've seen her invest so much in characters over the years, regardless of what their intentions may be. Recently, it's been a run of protective, nurturing characters like Martha, I told you it was coming, and Sofia Coppola's The Beguiled, or at least that's what Colin Farrell thought. The dinner scene, where he gets some intentionally bad mushrooms, plays out so well, and Kidman wears her feelings on her sleeve with a devilish intensity. She can actually be a protector. Just witness her in Lion, where she's the adoptive mother of a boy seeking out his natural family. Kidman regaled a story in which her sister attended a screening and sat next to her, weeping by the end of the film. That could have been any one of us. The Lester-seen birth also gave us a close-up look at her greatness. Her character is learning that her dead husband has been reincarnated as a 10-year-old boy, and the tight shot of her face for almost 2 unbroken minutes showcases everything from love to loss, grief to excitement, and it's a master class in how to convey multiple emotions at the same time. Laura Dern can portray power and vulnerability with equal ease, sometimes in the same sequence. When she's recounting how a divorce generally goes down with her client Nicole in Marriage Story, she gives the strong backbone of a woman who's built up a emotional callus over her years in the courtroom, yet she does briefly give way to her inner soul when it realizes the unjust nature of such proceedings. Of course, that can't last too long, and she locks it right back up with a firm, but that is the way it is. David Lynch films can often be a mesmerizing trip, giving the actors new, creative ways to express themselves. Sandy's dream of Robin's scene in Blue Velvet speaks to her pure heart amid a turbulent world, and Lula's wicked game sequence is the single biggest reason why Chris Isaac's tune is still so memorable today. Even in blockbusters like Aquaman, Nicole Kidman can lend a tough yet tender presence to a scene and make us feel real emotion. Or terror, as is the case in the others. She just wants to be a good, albeit strict mother to her kids as her world collapses around her. Just look at the horror on her face when she sees who her kids might really be. That's pretty much the same look I had when seeing that movie opening weekend. I still have nightmares. But when it comes to a big-time franchise, no one nails a moment like Laura Dern. As Amy Lynn Holdo in The Last Jedi, Dern maximizes her limited screen time by conveying tough and tender simultaneously in a tense scene that will require her to sacrifice herself for the greater good of the Resistance. We didn't even trust that she was on our side like 15 minutes ago, but now we understand that her desire for peace in the galaxy outranks all other concerns, including one for her own safety.
Dinosaurs eat man. Woman inherits the earth.
All right, enough preamble. Let's get to the breadwinner here. The look on Dr. Ellie Sadler's face when she first sees a living, breathing brontosaurus is one of the great reaction shots in movie history. And in Steven Spielberg's genius, we see her look before witnessing what she's beholding. These magnificent, thought to be extinct creatures come back to life. It's hair on your arm stand up good, even after all these years. See? It's doing it right now. After a few too many close encounters with some other dinosaurs, Ellie sucking up all her will to limp back to safety is also awe-inspiring. Both Dern and Kidman have done so much in smaller films, many of them which earned award nominations. So my call has to come down to that one moment that outshines all the others by capturing exactly what packed theaters across the globe were experiencing in that summer of '93. It's the Dino movie that acts as a tiebreaker here, giving Laura Dern the win in round 4, and it's all tied up 2-2 as we head into the final round. And now it's time for the wild card round, awards. Yes, I teased this was a distinct possibility early in the show, and why not make award nominations and wins the deciding factor? Look, I can't do a round like this in every episode. Do you really think awards would be the correct way to judge Van Damme against Seagal? While I have 2 performers of such prestige today, I intend to take full advantage. Award shows, they don't always get it right. Like that time Hoo-Ah won over Malcolm X for Best Actor, or when Jethro Tull upset Metallica at the Grammys for, wait for it, Best Heavy Metal Album. Yeah, it really happened. 1989. Look it up. And we can extend our gala glancing to the Emmys, as both Kidman and Dern have taken home a trophy for the same show, Big Little Lies. Y'all gotta check it out. It is such a riveting show. Don't believe me? Ask Meryl Streep. Nicole won Outstanding Lead Actress for the show in 2017. That same year, Dern won Outstanding Supporting Actress. Laura Dern has more Emmy nominations to her credit than Nicole Kidman, including a revolutionary turn in 1997, when she played the love interest of Ellen DeGeneres on the famous Coming Out episode. It was a landmark moment in TV history, and Ellen was in great hands acting opposite such a pro like Dern. If you want to go back and relive a watershed moment, it's the Puppy episode. Kidman and Dern have both been steady presences at the Academy Awards, or as my co-host of the Rotten Tomatoes is Wrong podcast, Jacqueline Coley, calls the show, the Super Bowl Final Series game. It's a big deal to a lot of folks, and both these actresses have won at the highest level. Kidman won Best Actress in the early 2000s for The Hours. Dern recently won Best Supporting Actress for Marriage Story. Laura Dern earned her first Oscar nomination almost a decade before Kidman for Rambling Rose, but since 2000, Kidman has been nominated 5 times. Her first for Moulin Rouge, and most recently this past year for Being the Ricardos. All told, Kidman has secured 5 nominations with 1 win. Dern has 3 noms and a win on her resume. So while Laura has the better batting average, it is actually an honor just to be nominated, and Kidman has seen her name as a finalist for a major award show a flabbergasting 254 times. She won 106 of those. Meanwhile, Laura Dern has won 61 major awards with 109 total nominations. So at the end of the day, it's just too many prizes and accolades accrued by Nicole Kidman for Laura Dern to keep up. But let's not forget how prolific Dern has been. She's been in far less films than Kidman, yet she was still able to maintain pace for the entire duration of today's matchup.
Please don't do this.
Every round was a tough call, but in the end, it's Nicole Kidman now winning the most prestigious award in her illustrious career, a victory on Versus. A show that I'm sure she's aware of. You did it, Nikki. I probably shouldn't call her Nick. Congratulations, Miss Kidman.
It's not enough for me. It's just not. It's not even close.
This might be a fun duel to revisit further on down the line, as both actresses have some real exciting stuff on the horizon. Laura Dern is returning to the world of Jurassic, as dinosaurs are running amok pretty much everywhere in this summer's Dominion, and we'll see Nicole Kidman in the next Aquaman adventure. And those are just the big tentpole projects that lean on talents like Dern and Kidman for credibility. I am sure that we're going to have plenty more award-worthy performances to talk about soon as well. Nicole Kidman gets the W today, but that's just my silly vote. Now it's your turn, Earth. Cast your ballot by hitting me up on social media with your take. I'm at Mark Ellis Live, and you can go ahead and follow us here at Rotten Tomatoes for all the latest in movies, TV, and more. That's it for us today on Versus, and remember, man creates dinosaurs, dinosaurs eat man, woman inherits the earth.